Hello, my fellow comic book collectors. Today is going to be a really great show. I have Captain Comics on my that's going to be interviewed today. This is going to be fun because he's the very first channel that allowed me to go onto his channel. So when I was first starting with this whole collecting thing, like and doing YouTube, I was a pretty small channel. And, I sort of reached out to say, hey, anyone would be willing to let me on their channel. And Capn Comics was the first channel that did. And he's just a really fun guy. He let me show my comics and it was a pretty fun time. So I'm, better late than never. I return the favor, bring him back on my show for me to interview him. So this will be great. So I'm going to double tap my face and bring him in. Hi, Captain. Hey.
Ahoy, mates and mermaids.
So this should be fun. So I'm curious. Like I always wanted to ask you this. How did you get into comics? How did you start collecting comics and all that?
Well, I actually didn't start collecting right away. My uncle came back from Vietnam and he brought comic books back with him. So me and my cousins would sit around and read them. And then a lot of his comic books had Mark Jewelers in them. And
oh, really?
I'll show you. Yeah. So that's what I grew up with, Mark Jewelers. So when I went to my first comic book store and I started going through them, I'm like, where's the jewelry? Where's the lingerie that you guys are supposed to sell in these? They had no idea what I was talking about. Wow. So then as years goes on, I realized, Mark Jewelers are kind of a rare thing. So then I started collecting them again.
Yeah, from what I understand, Mark Jewelers is only in the military versions of the comic. So you got it basically. You got the most collectible versions of the comics, which is kind of cool way to start. So what comics was your uncle reading? Like what kind of stuff?
Oh, he was reading everything from Avengers to Hulks to everything, Iron Man. We grew up, and then we started cutting, Hulks out, putting them on our lunch boxes. And now my uncle's like, I should have slapped you kids when you were younger. You know? That could have
your
been
Hulk number one. Just cut that
out. Yeah. Avengers number one, just cut in half because we only like the Hulk,
Yeah. Sacrilege. Okay. So, that's pretty cool. And how did you what was the progression into collecting more as a real collector, not just somebody
that was more high school. Like I said, I went to a couple comic book stores, I just went with a couple buddies. I started talking to the guy and he's like, oh, you really should get back into the hobby. There's so much different stuff from, just them Mark Jewelers. There's everything out there. So then I started dabbling around more in high school. Pretty soon I ended up with 15 long boxes by the time I was a senior in high school. And my mom was like, we're going to get rid of your boxes. You've moved away. And I was like, well, I'll come home. And she's like, I sold over half of them at a garage sale.
Wow. So you have that typical comic book story of the mother throwing away or selling your comics.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
She just sold the whole long box for $50, and it had 350 comics in it,
Oh, nice. Did she sell anything that's big grails or anything like that? Or?
Yeah, probably a Dracula number one, a couple Conan number ones, just the stuff that I started collecting more in the 80s. And then once I got into high school, into 90s and whatnot, it's when I started getting into a lot of the X-Men, like a Gambit number one, that's gone, a bunch of other, just all the X-Men stuff that came out in the 90s, that's all gone out of my collection.
Oh, wow. That's a bit bad.
Yeah.
Oh, well, you can always pick them up again,
Right. That's the nice thing, the hunt for it,
Yeah, the hunt for those ones. Maybe you'll find your old copies.
Right.
Yeah. So, did you progress into golden age or silver age? What did you in terms of where your interests lie in terms of most comics
nowadays?
Yeah.
Nowadays it's a lot of the golden age because I know a lot of them are harder to find. Even weird things like Archies and, you know, stuff like that that people have never heard of. Where's the one I just had? I had one that, you know, nobody's ever really heard of it.
Okay, I'll make you big and you can show it.
All right, I gotta find it real quick.
I was going to get you to show a lot of your comics anyway, so this will
right.
be a good segue into that. Okay, I'll make you big.
Where did I have that?
So, do you like the good girl art? When you said Archie, so.
Well, yeah, Archie's like one of the ones that, you know, a lot of people seem to collect more nowadays.
Yeah,
than
it's
they
been
used
sort
to.
of popularized by TV
Right
shows.
into windows of, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
I can so nowadays I do collect, like, I'm kind of an oddball collector. I collect Mark Jewelers and I collect DC Universe variants. Like like these, where it has the little DC on the corner.
Oh yeah, those are. One sec here. There you go. Wow, those are really hard to get. They're really hard to find.
I have some.
So how many were in the? How many different ones had that DC logo?
Oh, it's kind of hard to say. It's just like Mark Jewelers. They don't know. Like, there's a lot of Spider-Mans. There's a lot of Hulks. You know, I can't seem to find too many Batmans with Mark Jewelers in them.
Okay.
It's kind of whatever popular at that time. That's what they put them on. Kind of like the DC Universe. But these, it was more like, let's say that you had a crate of 1,000 of them, but you're short like 200. So they printed off like an extra 200 with that label on there.
Oh,
so
wow.
It's kind of hard to get a count on them, how many are actually out there.
Okay. So they were just basically replacement for missing orders, kind of like that?
Right. Pretty much to fill the order up to like 1,000 count or whatever. So that's what they did. And some of them are hard to find with, see it there in the corner, and down there is the harder ones to find, where it has 2 DC universes on it.
Yeah, I think I saw that one on like Comic Toms or one of those ones where they were talking about the DC Universe logo ones, and that being one of the rare grails of the lot. Yeah.
I have like 6 different ones that have that on there that I've hunted for. This is another Superman. This is a gold edition one.
Oh wow!
With the DC Universe on it.
And is there truly one that is like a grail one that like everybody wants, or?
Yeah, I'll show you that one next.
Okay, cool.
This one's kind of a hard one to find too.
That one looks really cool. Actually, I like that Batman cover just in general. Like, it's just a very cool with the skulls and stuff. Very Halloween theme.
Right. That's what I like. Now, this one is kind of hard. And basically, it goes for about 200 and plus just raw, because there's only maybe about 3 or 4 of them on the census. And it's a Supergirl one.
Oh, I never realized that the Supergirl one is the rare one. Wow.
And it's Adventures Comics, actually, is what it is with Supergirl.
Wow. That's really cool.
So these sell for about $275, $250, just raw, just as they are.
Wow. And is there like a 9.8 of those on the census, or?
I don't know. Somebody just told me there wasn't very many of them on the census, so that's why it's so hard to even get a rare one. And that one I got in a double pack, and they had the same comics in it, and that one was
that's funny.
Focus, so I was like pretty shocked.
That's pretty nice.
Yeah, that's my DC Universe, some of them. And then we'll go to a Mark Jeweler. So a Mark Jeweler.
Yeah, you got to show people what a Mark Jeweler is. I know what they are, but a lot of people are not familiar with them.
You can kind of see that line all the way through it.
Yeah,
I kind of got this one.
It adds a lot to the thickness, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's a thicker cardboard to the paper quality. And that's what it shows as a Mark Jeweler like that.
Mm-hmm. And was it like a whole little? It's like a little catalog inside, right? Almost
Right.
like
It's just always in the middle insert, and you can see it sometimes from the top if you look right. Like that's a blue one. You can see the blue line going all the way through it.
nice. So
So that's how
that's
you can tell sometimes without even opening up the comic book.
yeah, like those things. Like usually it's like 2 to 3 times like whatever the regular version is.
Yeah, and if you find one that's like, like a Spider-Man 300,
Yeah.
that one's going to go up even more.
Yeah.
But I have here's a G.I. Joe. So that's the cover.
Mm-hmm.
So here's another one with a misprint cover.
Is that the back cover?
Nope, it's all. That's why I was kind of bizarred out at it too when I looked at it. So that's the cover. That's the back cover.
Oh, weird. What
So
is that cover?
First page, and there's the first page. So that's the actual cover, misprint cover.
But what cover? What is that from? It looks like a back cover of something.
Something, but this is supposed to be the cover on it.
Wow, that's really crazy.
So if you open up the first page, you can see that it is the cover.
Yeah. I mean, it's that's so weird.
And they were going to throw it away, and it ended up being a Mark Jeweler.
So it's not only a misprint with a Mark Jeweler. Wow. That must be like one of a kind of level.
Kind of my diamond in my rough,
Yeah. Wow, that is very unique. I like those kind of errors, like where you get some kind of weird error like that.
Right.
But you just don't see them very often. Like usually they get destroyed, by the printer, right?
Well, something like that, most person would look at it and go, "Oh, that's just a ripped cover," and then throw it to the side. Yeah. Not realizing that's actually the cover. Mm-hmm. So I got one more. Before Mark Jewelers, there was Diamond Jewelers, and they came out from 1971 to 73, which is pretty much like a Mark Jeweler.
Oh, nice.
But it's a little bit older.
It looks like Mark Jewelers, like it's the same kind of thing.
Right. Except in them ones, their difference was they had the lingerie for the ladies.
Oh, nice.
So you could send your girlfriend a lingerie thing or something,
Oh, that's actually cooler than Mark Jewelers, in my opinion.
Right.
So is that a company that was related to Mark Jewelers, or is it?
Yeah, they started it off, and then Mark Jewelers took off since 73.
Oh, nice. So that's like 72, 71 era kind of.
That one is 72. That's a Hulk 151.
Wow, interesting. There's another thing to look out for and collect.
Same thing with a Apache Kid. That's another one that's in there. So these are my only 2 Diamond Jewelers.
Diamond Jewelers. Wow. So, I watch like Comic Tom and those ones, and Gem Mint is always there, and I think he has like one of those diamond jewelers or something like that. Like he always has the Mark Jewelers thing, but he also has the diamond one. I was always wondering what was that, and now I know. Now I know. That's cool. That's very cool. So what's your big grail book in your collection? Like what's like your
my biggest grails? Well, I have some old school Batmans that I like.
Okay.
Right along a couple of them to show.
Okay, I'll let you show those. I'll make you big again.
This one kind of goes with your Halloween theme.
Okay. Robin
hanging. That one's kind of a controversy one anyway, so I don't know if it.
So is he actually hanging? Like hanging? It looks like it.
Yeah.
But it's you can't see that, if there's a rope or whatever.
You can once you open it up.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
He's hanging.
Yeah, it wouldn't go with the graphics today's.
Okay.
See him hanging there, stabbed in the back.
This is almost like pre-code horror.
Right.
That's funny.
It's 73, I think, or 72 that comic book came out.
Wow, that's cool.
So that one I like because, it's just an oddball.
Yeah, yeah.
And a Robin one, a Penguin one.
Oh, that's the first. No, that's not the first. That's the second or third Silver Age Penguin. I always love that cover, though.
Right? He's fighting them with umbrellas and...
Yeah, that's really cool. I always associate the Penguin with that umbrella that like can shoot stuff and yeah. That's really cool.
They got a first appearance, Gaggy, Joker's first sidekick.
Yeah, that's really cool.
That's a good one. Little Batman going to the gas chamber.
Nice. This is the end.
Some World's Ends. I like some of these. Lex Luthor and Joker fighting each other.
Wow.
We got Batman and Superman cheering them on.
Cheering them on.
All right, like, let's go, guys. Come on.
Go, guys. Come on.
Another old school Batman.
Oh, that's cool. And I like the 12 center. That's nice.
Right. And that's what I'm saying. Like the 10 cents and the 12 cents are either harder to get or they're just not available or they're so skyrocketed that most people can't get anyways. There's an old Spider-Man.
Nice.
I think that's like the third appearance of Kingpin.
So it's maybe second cover or something like that,
Yeah, I like the green suit. That's the difference. Not the typical white suit that you see Kingpin in. That's kind of
a little different.
Lime green suit. I kind of like that. This is a good story where Batman thinks Penguin killed him.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yep. And he's telling him, "Oh, it's all right, Bats. I didn't do it." I don't know if you should believe him or not. Old Avengers.
Oh, that's nice. That's the first Whirlwind or something like that.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then since it's Halloween, I'll end on a good, Dead Man Escape.
Nice.
Some old school Fear.
Yeah, it looks almost like an octopus monster or something, or squid monster. I don't know. Squid monster, maybe? I don't know.
Squid.
Or octopus. I'm not sure. Is it octopus? Looks kind of more like octopus, I think. I don't know. But very cool. Yeah, very cool.
But I like collecting them now. I'm going for them like monsters and, fears, shadows, anything that's kind of old school like that I can pick up. I kind of pick up nowadays, even if it's in rough condition.
Yeah, I think those are fun. Like I like those kind of like, fun horror like titles. I think they're kind of
right.
Yeah. So what books are you chasing right now? What's your one that you're kind of going after?
What am I after?
Like what would you love to have in your collection, maybe?
That's the thing. Like I have had such a great experience with comic books. Like I've held a Batman #2 in my hand, raw as could be, a Superman 6 in my hand, a Superman 11. I mean, some of the greatest comic books I've held in my hand, not mine, but I've got to hold them at least, I made sure I didn't have no Cheeto dust on me or nothing. But that's the thing is like, even holding the Hulk 181, some people that's a grail. I've held that in my hands, raw to me is more better than the case.
Yeah, you're more traditional about that, right? You actually prefer the raw. Like you can tell I'm a slabber.
Right. Yeah, which is a good thing because you can get the actual value or roundabout value for that grade. Like, right. I can go, oh well, this could be a 5 to a 7. I don't know.
You don't really know. It's
right.
And you don't know if it's restored, and it's like
right.
Yeah.
Some of them
big reason I like it is just for display. Do you just Yeah, I like it. I like the slabs just so I can put them up on the wall. I can have that display and I can always see them.
Right.
But do you do that too? Do you display your comics, or do you always stuff them in long boxes?
Well, I started off doing that, and then I got married, and so now all where my comics used to be are
Hmm.
pops now from the wife. So
Okay.
she's a pop collector, so them all
Well,
got put down. So
that's cool that your wife collects too, because like
yep,
even if it's just pops, like at
right.
least she can maybe relate to you in terms of like the collecting bug.
Well, she started off collecting Harley Quinns,
Oh,
and
really?
actually,
Oh, wow.
our first date, I took her to a bookstore, a movie store, and then the comic book store. So she was like, "Oh, I'm hooked right now." You took me to the comics bookstore.
Oh,
I love
wow.
Harley Quinn, and she had like 3 Harley Quinns then, and so that date I bought her like 12. Just like, what do you want?
Seal the deal.
Right,
Seal
exactly.
the-
So I was like, I can't get any more luckier than this. So
Wow, that's really cool.
So
Yeah.
she started collecting. She got all the first series, the second series, all the third, and then she kind of switched to the pops after that. She's like, I
Yeah.
kind of got what I want out of it, except
Hmm.
for like the big holy grail one of
Did Adventures
yeah,
12?
yeah. That's pretty much the only thing she's missing out of her whole collection of
Yeah.
Harley Quinns. So she
Yeah.
worked hard for it and everything else. And I'm just kind of a scatterbrain. I'm like, oh, I like that cover. Or oh,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
remember something about that story that I read when I was a kid.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's kind of where I'm at with a lot of stuff.
But I mean that's cool. That's cool that you can share the hobby with your wife, and yeah, that's always makes it fun.
Yeah.
Um. So yeah. So yeah. What was I gonna say? So where can people find you and stuff? Like I always see you on other channels, and I see you on your own channel. But
That's I do I'm gonna probably do an interview myself with another buddy.
mhm,
On my YouTube channel, I do anywhere from comic book talking. I used to do a Saturday show called Shoot the Ship, which
mhm.
is where you started
Yeah,
off
that's where
at,
I was at. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
All right. And it's just a bunch of guys talking comic books, talking old school, talking new stuff, talking whatever we want to talk about, even life. Some guys were talking about how they had problems in their life, and
Mhm.
we all go through it one way or another.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, I find
But
comics are a good balance. Like,
right,
stress of life is outside that door, and then inside this room
right.
is sanctuary, right? Yeah. Um,
And you can relate with more of a comic book person than you could an actual out in the street person. Like
that's true. That's true.
you have that common thing together
Hmm.
to connect you with that, and then that's a branch off to go something else and somewhere else with the conversation. It's always nice.
Yeah. So,
Here's one. Did you ever see this?
oh wait, wait, wait. I'll make you big again. No, what is that? Buffalo Bee.
All right.
Wow, that's really
I
weird.
just came across that one. It's a little 10 center.
Now, I like these obscure ones that you never see.
Right.
That kind of reminds me of like the Bee movie. With Jerry Seinfeld guy.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that's kind of, it's a cowboy buffalo bee. I mean, it's
Sort of
okay.
cute. Very cute.
Right. Kind of like along that lines where it's not popular. Nobody has no idea about it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like it's Mighty Mouse or anything like that. It's
Yeah,
just
I'm a big Mighty Mouse fan.
this comic book presents beautiful. There's no stains in it. It's white to off-white pages.
And there's something charming about it. Like kind of very sweet and innocent looking, and they're sharing
Yeah.
a cactus drink. It's quite nice.
Right.
That's really cool. So do you sort of gravitate to the more obscure comics?
I do because of the like Mark Jewelers and DC universes. I have to hunt a little bit different places than most
Yeah,
people
yeah,
would
yeah.
actually think.
So you
know.
like digging through the long boxes and like looking for things, or?
I do. I love the hunt. I
Yeah,
love
yeah,
that. Looking for that treasure that might be my treasure, or even a buddy. Hey, I found this book for you. All right, thanks, man. A Dick Tracy one I found for a bearded comic book the other day
yeah.
about a Dick Tracy book. He didn't even have it in his collection. There's certain people that I know that have certain things in their collection that
Mhm.
I send them a picture out in my hunts. Hey, do you have this book or not? And they're like, oh no, I've never seen that book. Give me that book.
Yeah. It's just so weird. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, yeah. Are you going to like flea markets? Or are you going to like sort of the secondhand stores, or where's your hunt? Where are you?
My hunt. I do anywhere from garage sales to flea markets to just reading the paper, even putting advertisements out at your local gas station. Hey, I look through comic books, or if you have comic books for sale or whatever. I've had people call me over and I've looked through like $1 million collections and I'm like, I can't offer you anything for this. Like,
but maybe they didn't
just
know it was $1 million collection. You just say, oh, it's not really that great. I'll give you $100 for it.
Yeah, right. And then they're looking at you like,
Yeah.
I've done some estimates for people, elderly people on different books. And Golden Age is always the harder things, because some I looked this up on eBay and it's supposed to be this. Well, I have to tell you right off the bat, this is a graded comic book. This is a raw comic book. So there is a difference in the pricing right off the bat. Oh, no. Well,
yeah. And often
so you always have to start that
really
off.
Beaten up copy, like it's like barely a comic. And they're comparing it to that 9.8, which is like $100,000.
Exactly. Like, no, the cover's falling off. It's not even on the staples anymore. 3 or 4 of the paper are all drawn on. Well, I want 60,000 for this comic book. I'll give you 60 cents.
Exactly. Yeah.
But some people, I always have to tell them right off when I look at their collection, just understand that I'm not trying to lowball you at all or anything like that. I'm just trying to give you a kind of my estimate. Doesn't mean it's right or wrong. I'm just giving you an estimate of what this might be worth on the market.
And
that's always fun.
Just out of curiosity, like, did you ever find like some book that you're like, wow, I found this almost like a grail kind of book, but something that you picked up, maybe bought from the person?
I picked up what was it? Horrors of Tale number 11 for 50 cents at a garage sale.
Is that the one with the giant snake on it?
Squid all wrapping around a chick. Yeah.
That's a really good book.
I picked that up and I got it graded and it came back at 3.5. Never had a clean pressed or nothing. It came back at 3.5. So I was pretty happy with that one. That was like one of the, oh man, I found this out in the wild kind of book, and just paid like $1 for it. And I was thinking it was going to come back at least a 1.
But a 3.5 is actually decent.
Yeah, I was pretty happy. My one buddy's like, let's crack it open and then we can press it, clean it, and get it even higher. And
maybe a 5 or something like that. Yeah.
All right. I'm kind of happy right where she's at,
Yeah. That's really cool.
Another one I sent in was G.I. Joe number 1. I got that when in the 90s when that first came out. I got that graded like 2 years ago. Came back as an 8.5. I must have read that comic book like 60 times. So
you must have been really gentle when you read it.
Right. I was, not licking it too many times.
It's like
Cheeto dust. Right.
Put it in your pocket.
Eating ice cream above it,
You should see my comics from when I was a kid. Like I have them, like they're up in the ceiling area, but they're just like beat to death. Like you could tell like kids read these books.
Right. and that to me is like life. And a lot of people look at the opposite of it. Oh man, this is beat to hell. This is da-da-da. This shows me that somebody enjoyed this comic book, that somebody actually sat here and read this story and wanted to know what the next adventure was, So that's kind of like a lot of my weirdness about me is that's what I like, is just a little bit different.
A little bit of life in it. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. That's cool.
I found a Green Lantern number 5.
Oh, wow.
It had no cover on it.
Oh.
But I was pretty happy with it,
Yeah, it was still a cool book.
Right. That's it was like 40s. What's the original Green Lantern came out?
Oh, the original series of Green Lantern.
Yeah.
Oh, wow, that's even cooler. That's
right. That's why I was like, Oh well, it has no
Oh,
cover, but man, it's Green Lantern
yeah,
number 5.
that's a pretty awesome book.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, you can't go wrong with that kind of stuff. Like, I think even like the coverless, like when you get to those kind of bigger golden age
Right.
books, even a coverless copy is like insane. Like in terms
Right.
of price. Yeah,
It
yeah,
is.
it's pretty awesome. Yeah, I was
But you love that energy about it,
yeah,
that
yeah,
oh that
yeah. I
excitement.
I was pretty excited. I got sort of similar idea. I got a Pep #1,
Uh-huh.
but it's coverless. It's missing pages. It's just like it's rough, but
Right.
it's a Pep one.
One.
It's cool. I can say I have Pep #1.
Right.
Yeah, but yeah,
And how many other of us can say that? Not too
yeah,
many of
yeah.
them.
It's just the coolness factor. I'm actually going to buy a repro cover for it. Just
Uh-huh.
so it looks complete. But yeah, I don't know. I just I like that idea. I'm one of those collectors, and maybe you're kind of in the same boat where, and no pun intended on that. Um, but where I don't really care too much about the grade. Like I like the high grades. I love
Right.
I'd love to have a 9.8 of Action 1, sure, but
Uh-huh.
I I will buy the lower grades just to have the book. I just love to
Right.
have the book in my collection, even if it's a low grade. Do you
That's
find
where I'm
yourself
at
that
with
way too?
Mark Jewelers now.
Mm-hmm.
Is I'm trying to get a Mark Jeweler in every series, like
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Alpha Flight, like Captain America, Conan, every like I got one Batman. So I got a Batman, so many Spider-Man, so many Hulks, I'm trying to get every different series. Elf.
With
I'm trying to go
with
through the whole alphabet of getting at least one Mark Jeweler from every kind of
so
series.
so what? Where was Mark Jewelers printed in? It was printed in both Marvel and DC.
Mm-hmm.
And did it go into like any independents as well?
Nope. Just
No.
them, either Marvel or DC, and that was kind of the error for it.
Oh,
And
that's
they're like 1 to 5% out there. They're saying, as
yeah. I
far as
mean, how
comic
many
book.
like military bases and how many comics would be on military bases? It's
Right.
you'd think it would be a pretty small group.
Right.
Yeah, it's like
And then they even find them, like you say, in good or even fairly nice condition
yeah,
is rough on some of them.
yeah. You
But
wouldn't
that's
expect it
where
would
I'm
be.
at the same way. I don't care what the condition is, as long as it's kind of filling in my alphabet of filling
Yeah,
in
yeah.
there.
That's cool, cool. So yeah, so I really appreciate you coming on the show. One last thing, so I'm gonna put links to your channel. I know you have your comic channel, and you
Right.
also have your Instagram, which is
Mm-hmm.
cool. So I'm gonna link to both of those. Is there anything that's coming up that this will probably air in about a month from when we record it. So we're recording it just for the audience to know. We're recording
Right.
this just before Halloween. So this will probably air more in December, like November, December, just based
Man.
on other people that been
Right.
scheduled. But so is there anything like in that time frame, Christmas range, where you're doing any special shows or something?
Doing cover slingers.
Okay.
I'm gonna go back to that on a regular basis. I love the insults and the
Yeah.
rated R sense of humor on that show.
Yeah, I was on that show once, and like my soul is still crushed.
I did it for a year,
Yeah,
straight
like
every
I'm
week.
showing, I was showing like these big slabs, and and that's it's like I'm dead in the water. I'm dead in the
Right,
water. Just,
right. Like I don't even care. Look, yeah, that's first appearance of Frankenstein, and that. I don't care. Like,
it's so funny. Yeah, that's not. Yeah, the judging is just so awesome on that show.
right.
It really changes your perspective of comics. It really does.
It
It's
does.
fun.
Matilda and Grayman are so great on that show,
Yeah,
and that's them two duo together is so much fun.
yeah, yeah.
And I can't say enough positive things about that show. I've been on a lot of comic book category shows,
Mm-hmm.
Comigories on John's
Commodores, yeah,
Comics with Kids. Yep.
yeah.
Rod the Lame or Frame. I was doing that for a while,
Mm-hmm.
drawing cartoon characters.
Oh, the drawing one is like that. I watched a couple of those, a few of those episodes, and like, I don't know, like you don't have much time. Some people like actually color it in and everything, and then like if it was me, I'd be like a little stick figure and like, you know, like
you color it in quick.
Yeah. But some of them do pretty impressive drawings very quick. Yeah. So
tough. And that's what I like is a lot of comic book shows like that. You know, where it's fun and entertaining, and everybody can still show off. You can show off a $20,000 comic book compared to a $1 comic book, and just kind of see how it goes from there. You know.
Yeah. I had like I was on Cover Slingers. I showed like a really big book, and I think a $1 bin book beat me out. I got demolished. It wasn't even close. It was like $1 bin book is awesome. Your crappy $20,000 book. That's like,
right.
It's awesome. It really does.
But it's the aspect of it.
Yeah, it's fun. It's fun. It was like I loved it actually. I thought it was fun. But okay, so thanks again for coming on my show, and we'll have to do this again. You'll have to come on for something else. We'll talk. Yeah. We'll talk pirates or something. It'll be fun. So thanks again. One last thing to my audience. Thanks for watching. Please check out Capn's show. It is really great. Check him out on Instagram as well. I put the links in the description. And if you want to be interviewed, I'm kind of putting it out there to the comic community that I really want to get as many people engaged in this as possible. Put your comment below and say, hey, check me out, and maybe I'll check you out. So thanks again. Bye for now.
Keep hunting for your treasure.